Thank you so much for joining us on the Grief and Potluck podcast. Today we are blessed to have Diana Brooks, who comes with us from Heartwood Preserve here in sunny Florida. Diana, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us. So Heartwood Preserve, that's a green burial place. Tell me a little bit about that place.
Sure. Thanks for having me, first of all. Yes, we're located in Tampa, Florida, actually in Trinity, also known as Newport Richey, and we are a conservation cemetery. A lot of people call it natural burial, green burial, but actually we are conservation burial. So a little bit more stricter than others, but basically kind of doing the same thing, just a little bit more stricter. So conservation burial is keeping the ecosystem intact that's already here.
Okay.
So there is no embalming, no plastic, no metal, no chemicals of any kind. No plantings are brought in at all. No bios urns, no trees being planted. We're actually just keeping intact these woods and the forest that's already here.
That sounds really interesting because sometimes you would think, plant a tree, therefore I know where my loved one's at. But so if I was to come to you and say, I want to bury my grandmother or myself here, eventually, how do I know where I'm at?
Sure thing. So basically, a couple ways. We have plaques, which are also known as memorial markers, if you will, but they're 5x7 steel plaques. They have your loved one's dates on them, date of birth, date of death, and their name. They're created by the families, so you could have nicknames on there, maiden names. Some people are even taking off dates altogether and just putting sayings on there. Everyone's plaque ultimately looks the same, very symmetric. They're either oval or square. They're all black or in silver, so they're all a steel material. All the plaques go in the center of the graves, whether it's cremation, inurnment, or full body interment. So once your loved one is buried, you'll be able to find that person with their plaque. However, some folks don't want a plaque. They're saying, put me in the earth, cover me back up, and I don't want a plaque. I want the earth just to take over. They want their body to nourish the earth, and they don't want to really be found. So I love showing people that come out here the landmarks they can find within nature.
Right.
We have a welcome center. We have a parking lot. We have a maintenance barn. We have a kiosk. So I use those as points of direction of where they are, and then I'll within that we'll find like a cluster of trees, or I'll find a big large oak, or I'll find a big longleaf pine or something, and then I'll help them find where their loved one is. Plus we have a map and we have walking trails and hiking trails.
Okay. So not only is it basically a piece of land, it's kind of someplace that you can, I don't want to say park because that may be the wrong word, but it's somewhere you can meander. Okay.
That is true. It's very park-like. People come here daily to walk. There's a section that's just nature preserve. It's not a cemetery within Heartwood Preserve. That it's more like walking trails. So people can come and walk a dog on a leash. People come out all the time on their lunch breaks and eat their lunch out here. Lots of folks come out with little earbuds and they take a walk. So it's not just people visiting the cemetery. It's really nice for those visiting the cemetery because you park, you walk a little, you can gather some pine cones, some sticks, if you find like a rock or something, some pine straw, you can find little things within the nature preserve before you get to your grave of your loved one, and you go put that stuff on top.
That does sound lovely. Yeah, very natural, as it were. How large is the preserve? So it's called a preserve too. Sorry, I'm backing up 2 questions.
You're fine.
So it's a preserve, so it's a large plot of land. How large is it, and what makes it a preserve versus just, I guess, a natural burial site? as it were?
So the actual property is privately owned by Laura Starkey. She grew up here. She grew up when it was a cattle ranch, and she bought back 41 acres
Hmm.
that she privately owns. Within the 41 acres itself, there's wetlands, there's a Florida protected swamp, there's baby longleaf pines popping up, and then there's a nature preserve, and then there's a cemetery that we have mapped out to become just cemetery. It's hard to determine exactly the amount of acreage we have just for cemetery, but it's between about 34, 35 acres would be just cemetery. The rest would be nature preserve. So, for example, if you came out and said, Diana, this is my spot. I love this spot. Take my photo. I want to stand on my plot. I would say, that's really great, but it's not for sale because it's too close to this tree. So the trees come first. If it was cremation, it'd probably work because I'm not going to hurt the roots.
Right,
but if it's full body burial, I'm have to literally measure 12 to 15 feet from the base of that tree. So what we do is burrow. So there's a gopher tortoise burrow nearby. I'm not selling that plot to you as well.
Right.
So so even though we have it mapped out to be cemetery, not all of it's going to be, because we are protecting with the conservation format. The conservation cemetery means that just because you want that space doesn't mean it's yours. That gopher tortoise lives there, and that's his. So, it's not for sale in that exact spot. So it's a lot of land conservation within the cemetery.
Okay, well, that's unique.
Yeah. So and then if it's a section that you wanted to be cremated, if you were going to have ashes, there's a lot more areas you could be in,
right?
Because you're not going to hurt a lot of things out here. So yeah.
Now, it looks like it got started in 2016 as far as the burial situation. Is that correct?
It did. Actually took Laura, the owner, many years before that, getting it all together, worked out. Lots of red tape. However, on her own, by herself, she was able to open this in 2016. I've been here since then. We technically opened the doors in 2016 August, but we had our first burial and our first pre-need sale November, the first week of November of 16. So every year we celebrate our birthday that first week of November. We say that we officially opened that week, because having your first burial really puts you on the map of becoming a cemetery. Your first body in the ground really makes you open, per se. So,
right, I gotcha.
But yes, 2016 is when we opened our doors and put up our sign. That is correct.
That's cool. So it's still quite young. Have you found people are really open to the idea of natural burial? I mean, because cremation is cremation and easy ashes, but like they shy away from cremation for whatever reason. They're dead, but they shy away from it and they want full body. Like, do you find people
are? That's a great question. So in the very beginning, in the 2016 time frame, 2016, 2017. The first time I heard what I'm about to tell you, I was like so blown away. I was like, this is so amazing right now. And now I'm just used to it. But let me just tell you. So people were coming in, and they already had their pre-planning done, or they already had their wills done, or they already had their, all their stuff done, that they were going to have their cremation. They were already going to be cremated. And then they found us, and then they were getting it switched to full body burial. And they were going to go back, and now they're going to have to pay more wherever they had that done at the funeral home to get them here. However, and B, they were like, the only reason I was going to be cremated is because I didn't know this existed. Now, the first time I ever had that done, like I said, it was awesome. I was like, this is so interesting. And now it's all the time. It's all the time. I love it. They're like, people are coming from all over the state of Florida. If you are in Ocala and north, we send you to Prairie Creek. We are great friends with Prairie Creek. We love Prairie Creek. They're doing green burials as well. If you are from like Ocala and south, we're getting families from all over. So we have families that have come here pre-need and at need from Miami, West Palm Beach,
Wow.
Orlando, Sarasota is very popular,
Mm-hmm.
Cape Coral. Like I said, it's pre-planning and at need. So it's been amazing. People are really happy when they find us. I always love to say, "How'd you hear about us?" It's usually um, this is usually the same thing, is, I don't want to be cremated, yet I just don't want to be buried all fancy like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what I wanted. That's usually something. Or is, I heard something once, or I read something once,
Mm-hmm.
and I found this article and I saved it, or I saw something once and then I searched and you're the closest one to me. So that's usually, or a lot of people will want to be put in the ocean because they want to have people come visit them. They feel that
Mm-hmm.
there is
Mm-hmm.
a grieving process that goes on with that. That
Mm-hmm.
maybe now they have grandkids, and the grandkids should have a spot to come and grieve.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're put in the ocean, which I highly respect. It's fine. That's for your wishes. It's just that some
Yeah.
people they should have a place to come and grieve.
Yeah. 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 I've been doing a lot on grief because it is a process for everybody
It's
differently.
a process. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a process like many others. So that I care about a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel that this place gives you the living part of that, which is actually a good place to come. It's a cool place to walk around, get some fresh air, get your vitamin D. You're not
Yeah.
just coming to like a regular cemetery that's all like pristine. It's actually a little walk. It's a nice little walk. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the landscape definitely. I mean, I got so excited. This is the odd note side story, but I got oddly excited when one of the cemeteries close to me, they cut down, like, not a good thing, but they cut down some of their trees because of the hurricanes that we get, and actually, like, got a wood carver in there to make the trees, unique shapes, birds, bears, whatever it was. And I was like, oh, look at that, because it changed the landscape of just this patch, of headstones, as it were. And then of course, I think a lot of people don't realize that green burial has become a phenomenon in itself, as it were. And I feel for people who, I mean, because I recently sat in to a funeral conversation. And the guy was like, "Yeah, you got to have the stone. You got to get yourself this, and you got to have this." And it just started adding up, obviously cost wise, to just putting your body in the ground between the concrete, the casket, and everything. How do you find the green burial? And you can give me big ballpark numbers. Feel free not to be too specific if you don't want to be. But how does it equate out? Like, average funeral cost these days, they ballpark it around $8,000. Like, that's insane just off the top of the market brain. But how does that compare to a green burial, as it were?
So basically, that's a really important question. So at a regular cemetery, you need a vault. You need a concrete liner that goes in the ground first. You will need a casket of some sort, and usually there's embalming involved in that somewhere, funeral or whatnot, funeral directors and all that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a headstone that's going to be involved in that. That's usually granite or bronze. So basically, all I sell here is three things. I sell the plot, which is the ground space. I sell the opening and closing. We open the ground. We put all the dirt right next to the grave, and we close it by hand. So we lower the body using ropes and boards, and then we put all the dirt back on right in front of the family using shovels for about 30 minutes straight, about 6. And then I sell the memorial marker, the plaque, which is not even, you don't even have to have that, so it's an option. I also include in my little thing that I sell, I use a doc stamp in there, which is also included is your perpetual care. If you pre-plan that, it's less than $3,900.
Wow.
I don't. That's all I sell. I can't upsell you on anything
Right,
else.
right, right.
I can't try to sell you anything else. If you want to do it on a weekend, weekends would be a little extra because
Sure.
we're not open. But besides that, I can't sell you anything fancy. This is not a fancy thing. This is no bells, no whistles. I tell people right away, you still need a funeral home. You need a funeral director. There's legalities involved. I know in other places there are people not using directors, and there's people that are doing it on their own, and it can be done. I would love someone to do that, but here at Heartwood, we haven't had that done yet. So I know people love to argue the fact that, well, I can save money. I don't need to have a funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. You know what? That is so true. I personally haven't had it done yet. So until I work with someone who's done it all on their own,
Mm-hmm.
I yet can help you on that. But in the meantime, the funeral homes are charging around $2,000 or so, I believe. You can shop that. They're going to pick you up. They're going to bring you back to their facility, refrigeration, washing of the body, disinfecting of the body. Some of them are including shrouds in that price. Some of them are not. You can pick a shroud. You can bring a sheet right off your bed. You can be butt naked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to be in anything here. What's very popular is the pine box. A pine box,
Mm-hmm.
like a cremation casket, if you will. But anyway, a funeral director's cost is up to them. Depends on the area they live. Also, there's going to be a price to get you here. So if you are living like where you live now, where I am here, that director is going to cost. It's going to cost mileage. They're going to cost. They're going to charge the family mileage to get you here. However, if you added up everything we just said, it's still not going to equal $8,000.
Right, definitely.
I mean, if you added the prettiest shroud and the mileage, and hey, throw in some flowers. So, of course, green burial is going to, but you know what? It's not for everyone. The main thing they need to know is it's no bells, no whistles, no frills. So, this is not your average thing. It's not like, traditional. It's not what everyone was used to growing up. We don't have all the fancy chairs with the coverings and the nice big tent. It's not like that. So we lower the body right in front of you. We put the dirt on right in front of you. We then pass around a bowl of wildflower seeds that the family can then sprinkle wildflower seeds on top. We put pine straw back on the mound of the body of the deceased. It's real. It's like real and genuine, and that's what's in the price. And for cremation, it's pre-planned. It's about $1,600. So the $1,600 charge is cremation space. Opening and closing is done by hand, the memorial marker, and a dock stamp. And that's how much it is if you pre-plan a cremation space here.
Thank you for bringing up the funeral director factor. You're right. I mean, honestly, I kind of was in the mindset when I went into this whole situation where thinking about dealing with the end of life and how I'm going to assist my parents in that regard because of, once they're gone, what do they want? And that was my thinking too, was I don't want that director. I don't want that one person making that decision. I hate to say I kind of saw them as the evil person, but in retrospect, obviously there are necessary steps that, we can't just all show up. Or, no, obviously if we're dead, we can't show up, but we can't just show up.
We don't know that.
It's true. We can't.
You know what I tell people is I love to plan. I wouldn't say I'm OCD, but I enjoy planning. I don't like chaos. However, on the worst day of my life, on the worst day of losing my loved one, I don't want to have to go down to the government building or file anything or fill out papers. It's like selling your home.
Yeah.
Do you want to use a realtor or do you want to do by owner on the worst day of your life? Let's add that back in. So for me, a funeral director, this is what they went to school for. They have a license in this. This is what they do day in and day out. Honestly, you're just hiring them for their services. Do you want to use box color on your hair, or do you want to go get your hair done on the worst day of your life? So for me, I'm for the director.
Right.
I'm pro director. That doesn't mean anything. That I'm in this business of green burial, yet I'm very pro director only because I don't think that person on the worst day ever should be doing all that stuff. I don't think that's good for your heart. I don't think that's good for your for your grief. I think you should just let that other person do it. That's literally their job.
Right.
You're keeping them having a job, and then you can have time to be sad. Don't kind of cover up that sadness by keeping busy.
Right.
But you know what? That's just my opinion, and I hope I don't get anyone mad for saying that.
No, I love it because, like I said, my mindset was, there's this one person that's going to make these decisions. And then I was like, well, no, I should own these decisions. And then as I rolled into this, that's something else I didn't really consider. Like I said, I'm trying to learn as I go. So when you
Absolutely.
roll into the green burial thing, you think, at least me think, Ginger think, that done, I would just roll up, you would have it all taken care of.
Yep.
But essentially, like you said, it's not like a regular piece of ground dedicated to the normal process. So the different processes, but even so, the person went to school to understand these legalities. And that's where, and I get it because even side note, I've had a grandmother pass away recently. On even when you think everything is buttoned up, there's still something that went sideways in the process that you didn't have anything to do with, but somebody else didn't cross their T's and dot their I's. And therefore, there's outstanding this, there's level up with that. So yeah, the funeral director, she has done this, so they have a clue that there's another side of things that, it's not just put you in the ground done. There's strange legality.
You don't know, so basically everyone's like, they'll ask me, how many death certificates should I get? I said, you know what? The more the better. Get 5 with the cause of death, get 5 without. Now, I'm just a cemetery person. You're asking me. I mean, I don't know, but you know what? I always say that's a funeral director question. That's great. Funeral director is also going to help you with an obituary. Some people don't know that there's a free statement in the paper. I forget the exact wording, but they'll help you say what's free and what's not. Also, shop your funeral home. You don't have to go with someone that's down the block. You can shop it, and then guess what? You're alive now, so call around, get to know them, drive by, go in, whatever. But those are the people that your loved ones are going to be working with on the worst time of their life. So make sure you like their energy. Make sure you like their place because that's going to be really sad for them. So make sure that you like those people and you like their reputation or whatnot. It's not all about the price sometimes. So.
No, you're right there. You're right there. Because I think that trusting your gut instinct on even this, it can have a big influence on how that goes down closer to the circumstance of life where you find yourself. That's very educational. Thank you so much for that, Diana.
Absolutely.
On your, by the way, I love your newsletter. Very delightful to look at visually. Mindfulness. You've got something going on with here a mindfulness meditation survey. Is there something you're starting up unique to your preserve that you're trying? What are you doing there?
So basically, since we opened, we have what's called talk-in tours. They were really awesome, rocking and rolling during pre-COVID.
Right.
We have
right.
This cemetery is we feel unlike others, that we use the preserve part, the nature preserve part, and we use the welcome center for other kinds of things. First of all, they're always free. Second of all, we do Tai Chi, a yoga class, a meditation, a bird walk, a nature walk, a silent meditation through nature. We do these different topics. We talk about prescribed burns. We talk about why we burn the woods. We show the regrowth. We talk about the trees of Heartwood. It's not just about, honestly, almost none of the topics are about the cemetery, what we're doing here. So part of the meditation survey that went out is we're trying to have a monthly, no matter what, a definite meditation that we do here ongoing. Because when we do a meditation, it's our biggest event and everyone loves it. And it really should be a staple event that happens here. Because if you one trip here, you're going to be like, Oh, I love, like, it's a really great energy place, but the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, we just don't know when to host it. Like, what's good for everyone? Do you want us to host it on a Saturday morning, or do you want
Mm-hmm.
to host it on a? We just don't know, and we're so afraid to commit because we want to make sure everyone comes and can come.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we passed out a mindful meditation survey to figure out to fill everybody out because we really want to have it going monthly. We want a monthly one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that was. Um, it could be indoors mostly. We've done crystal bowl meditations in here. We've done yoga classes inside and outside. Tai Chi has been inside and outside. It really just depends on the time of year. With COVID, everything lately has been outside. So, you know, we're just trying to get our stuff coming back again, trying to have some events again that people will feel comfortable coming to. And meditation is an amazing event to come to here at Heartwood. It's just like a really great, peaceful place. Whether you're like, you could meditate literally by yourself. Here, you could really get like some good energy that you've been needing, some grounding. So,
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a great environment that you
Mhm.
wouldn't normally think to find yourself in. But I'm grateful to Miss Darky for being pro thinking on this. I mean, it is a unique phenomenon from my personal point of view. I had only started to hear about the concept of a green barrel because my brother-in-law was interested in it, and his mother was like, "Well, what?" Very
Mhm.
traditional South is, learning this new method, and it was like, and I was like, "Oh, I know you could do that." And then COVID hits, and I'm a little more into my research of everything else in the world. So, so it is an interesting overall, and I appreciate the time that you've shared with us and the way you've put this together has been quite a unique and I'm sure quite a unique experience for those that come out. So I do hope that people take a moment, look around wherever they are, and take green burial into consideration and go forth and explore that option. And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah,
really,
I mean, it's not like I said, it's not for everyone. We've gotten a really great interest in like um millennial type of
mm-hmm,
people, like age group, because we, you know, those that age group is, I feel, has been recycling. They've been watching
right,
the news. They've been taking care of their bodies a little differently. And they're not going to spend 10 grand to bury their parents. So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
they love this. This makes sense. So they come in, get information, and then they're sending it to their parents. And a lot of folks are coming in here saying, I'm like, how'd you hear about this? And they're like, actually, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. It gives me goosebumps when they say that their
mm-hmm,
kids referred us to them. so,
mm-hmm.
yeah, I think I think it's great. I'm a believer. I love my job, and yeah, thanks for your interest in us and for helping me share it with everyone else. So.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it. Thank you.